Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Marketplace CSI SG Pro. And for those of you that don't know, when you buy a guitar on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, oftentimes it's like the TV show CSI. You're trying to sort of uncover a crime scene. Something's happened, and you're kind of trying to figure out why the guitar, the picture you're looking at, is what it is and what it claims to be. And for reference, let me explain. When you go to Reverb to buy a guitar, right? You go on Reverb, and someone will say, hey, I'm selling, this is a 2017 Gibson SG Tribute with a mahogany body and tusk nut, and if they've replaced anything, they definitely tell you about it. Oh, I have a Goda bridge, and the caps are orange drop, and you're just like, well, thank you, because you pretty much know everything there is to know about the guitar, lots of pictures and stuff. You kind of have a good idea of what's going on. But on Facebook Marketplace, it's oftentimes a lot different. It's like, for sale, red guitar. And then you have to begin investigating. And you might say, well, you know what? Why should I go to Facebook Marketplace when Reverb is this wealth of information? And I'll tell you why. Because when you go to Reverb, which is a wealth of information, the person that's giving you all that information knows exactly what that guitar is worth, and they're not going to budge. I mean, that's really the truth. Someone that knows everything about their guitar probably knows what it's worth, and they're just going to sit there and wait until they get that amount of money. Now, on Facebook Marketplace, that isn't necessarily true. And I think the guitar I'm about to explain and show you will demonstrate why. Today, I acquired, and I almost don't want to touch it without gloves, but I acquired a 2018 Epiphone SG Pro with a Bigsby. It has a Bigsby, and it's terribly filthy, but whatever. So the listing for it was just Epiphone SG, $250, and there were some pictures. Luckily, one of the pictures, the person selling it wanted to show the old school tuning keys, and I was able to see the serial number. From the serial number, I could do a lookup, and I could see that this was a 2018 Epiphone SG. I could see what factory in China it was made in, just get some basic information. That's a good start. From there, I could go to a couple of different locations to see if any version of the SG Pro made in 2018 had a Bigsby on it. And it was really the Bigsby that I was interested in, more so than the guitar, because I've wanted a Bigsby for a while, and a Bigsby such as this with the additional mounting bracket, it could be around $300. I mean, it could cost that, which is, a little bit more than the guy was asking for the whole guitar. So I wrote to him, and I gotta say, when you write to people on Facebook, I always have to be careful, because yes, it is a marketplace, but Facebook is also, where people photograph what they had for breakfast and argue about politics. So, I mean, that's the space you're in, trying to conduct business. So when I write to people, I always try to be as just absolutely non-threatening and friendly as possible. It's not like, hey, I think you're an idiot, or you're a liar. It's, hey, buddy. I was wondering did you put that Bigsby on yourself Did it come with the guitar? What can you tell me? And what he wrote back was that it was there when he bought it, which tells me that clearly he must have bought it secondhand. So it was a secondhand purchase. And that got me even more CSI interested, because if someone went to the trouble of putting a Bigsby, and this is an expensive piece on the guitar, maybe they did some other things to the guitar too. This gentleman didn't seem to know. Now, another thing I could see in the photo was that, I mean, the guitar's filthy. I mean, it's absolutely filthy, and it's not filthy from having been played. It's filthy from just being neglected. So, you know, that also tells me that whoever had it, it just doesn't care about guitars. And oftentimes those people that don't care about guitars, will sell their instruments for a lot less than someone, like I said earlier, that knows everything about their instrument and has kept it in good condition. Now, you can get lucky as you're playing Facebook Marketplace CSI. If you see that it's just filth and not dents, dings, scratches, I mean, really, you could be in luck. So in this particular guitar, and by the way, I'm going to do this in two parts. Part one, I'm just going to tell you, and part two, I'm actually going to see if I can clean this thing up, and if I can get it playable. The seller did tell me that the front pickup doesn't work, which was why he was selling it for so cheap. But theoretically, the only kind of mechanical device attached to these pickups is this toggle switch. I'm guessing if that pickup stopped working, it's not like the coils on the humbucker just decided to fray apart or anything like that. It has to be that switch. That's kind of an easy thing. And again, not something you would find probably with the more experienced sellers on Reverb. So again, it's Marketplace CSI. I've gotten lucky before with a number of guitars. I might get lucky with this guitar. I'll take some close-ups, but the filth here, it is definitely pretty filthy. I might even go so far as saying it's a bit stained up here at the headstock. It is horribly filthy. And it also looks like it has the old type of tuning keys, the small hole ones. Anyways, if I were to replace that, I'd probably have to bore those out or do something fun. And by the way, I don't know how well you can see. I'll take some close-up pictures. But this Bigsby, to the best of my knowledge, is just mounted completely wrong. Part of it is overlaying the pick guard. I can see the little booties down there that should be resting on the body, but they're not. They're just kind of floating in the air. It's stable, but it's not correct. So I have a sneaky suspicion, and this is what I think happened. Someone bought this guitar and said, you know what, I'm going to make it super cool, put a Bigsby on, said, you know what, I probably don't know what I'm doing. I'll sell this to someone that doesn't care. And then eventually the person that didn't care got around to selling it to me. And remember, this was made in 2018 at the time of this video. It's 2022. So in 4 years' time, it was able to accumulate a lot of abuse. We'll just call it abuse. So anyways, I'm going to tear into this. It might be a few days while I wait for some parts to arrive. That'll give me a chance to pull the Bigsby off. It'll give me a chance to clean this up. It'll give me a chance to, have a good look at the neck, and then we're going to put it back together, and we're going to see if I get my $250 worth out of this machine. So there you have it, and I will appear again, probably dressed differently. Greetings, and after a week or so later, here I am, and I'm back with with the mystery being solved, I've definitely solved the mystery. So let's start there. Let me at least tell you what this is and how I believe it got to where it is, and then I'll tell you what I did with it, and we'll see if it works and was worth the money that I spent on it. First off, this is a 2018 Epiphone SG 400 Pro limited edition 1966 reissue. And I didn't have a lot really to work with to figure that out. And you might be thinking, well, I mean, you have it, and you probably just went right online, and there it was. But that's not necessarily true. The information that I had to work with was, well, I have an SG. It says Pro right there. There's a little silk screen in the back that says Limited Edition Custom Shop. And I should note that I think when they mean custom, I think Epiphone meant that every fret on this was its own custom height, and that I'd have to work all that out. But regardless, that's what I had. It said SG Pro. It said limited edition on the back. And it has a bat wing pick guard. And with SGs, you get two kinds of pick guards. And they're not really interchangeable. You either have one that looks like this and fits in there, which is the more common. And then you have what's called the bat wing pick guard, which I guess dates back to 1966. So I thought the easiest thing for me to do, and probably maybe even what you're doing, is I went right to YouTube and I said, you know what? I'm going to turn YouTube on and I'm going to see someone, probably that looks just like me, holding the guitar, and then they're going to tell me all about it. And then that'll be easy. But I didn't. I typed in 2018 SG Pro, and I saw a lot of people standing there, but none of them were holding one with a batwing pick guard, except for one guy. There was one guy that had somewhat of a blurry, very short, like 3-minute video where he had just purchased it. He didn't give me any information. Matter of fact, all he did was apologize to his listeners for the fact that all of his bottom teeth had been pulled out. And really, for 3 minutes, he talked about the importance of dental hygiene and nothing about the guitar. If you type in SG Pro 2018 on YouTube, you'll see a lot of guys prancing about, but none of them, except for someone that had some dental work, will have one that looks like this. So I said, okay, so YouTube's not going to be very much help. I'll go to Reverb. Surely Reverb will be able to help me. And I did find a few things on Reverb, 3 or 4 guitars that looked like this, but, you know, the question becomes, well, is it, it's an SG Pro, but, I mean, anybody can put a Pro plate on their guitar or change things out. You know, the guitars I did see had all been kind of modified, and it seemed like nobody could agree if the body was mahogany or some other weird wood that everyone pretends is mahogany, if this is Pau Ferro, is it rosewood, where it's made. Reverb's an interesting place too. Is it made in the United States? Probably not. Japan, Korea, Indonesia, China. Those were all things that I saw there on Reverb about this guitar from those people. So I went to the Epiphone. I found the Epiphone catalog for 2018. And all the other SGs were in it, except this. There's not a single SG picture that has bat wings. And then I thought about that for a minute, and I said, maybe that's what the custom shop part is. It's not uncommon for these manufacturers to, like Epiphone, to do a special run, say, just for Musician's Friend, or just for Sam Ash, or just for Guitar Center. And I said, okay, well, this probably is one of those because Epiphone doesn't have it in their official catalog. So yeah, they probably made these for one of those companies. Another useful source, oddly enough, was Wikipedia. Now, I did try to use the Wayback Machine on archive.org to go back to Guitar Center's website, or back in time to these websites to try to find this, but I didn't have really any luck there. I actually had more luck with Wikipedia that had listed all of the G400 series, and that's when I actually finally saw a picture of this in its glory with what it actually was. I said, oh, okay, this is a 66 reissue, limited edition. Got it. Now, for the rest of the story, I did go to one of those serial number lookups for Epiphone, and I put the serial number in, and that told me that this was made, of course, in December of 2018 in China. So I'm assuming that it didn't make it into the United States until 2019. And I'm guessing, for the rest of the story, since I bought this from its second owner, that what happened was this. Someone in 2019 went and bought this guitar and said, you know what, I'm going to put a really super cool Bigsby on it, even though I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but whatever, I'll put it on. Even though the rest of this guitar is not designed to have a Bigsby on it. And that, and coupled with the fact that this guitar really needed a lot of fretwork, probably said, I can't play this, this is unplayable, and then sold it to someone else. Oh, and by the way, one of the, I didn't get this with any kind of case or gig bag. One of the things I saw on when I finally did find a review of this guitar was that, oddly enough, it didn't ship with a gig bag or hard shell case. It's just one of those where you got the guitar, just here you go, which again leads me to believe it's the kind of thing that comes in the mail to you. So, but yeah, someone bought this and said, you know what, I'll put a cool Bigsby on. Then they realized, wait a minute, I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't play, it doesn't stay in tune. Then they sold it to someone else who got it, probably in, who knows, could have been in 2020 maybe during the lockdowns when everybody, they were buying guitars like crazy. Matter of fact, more guitars were sold during the lockdowns than at any other time in history. They were just flying off the shelves. You could sell your used guitars for insane amounts of money. I did a video about the PVT 60, which you used to be able to pick up for, you could buy those for $150. During the lockdown, you were paying, $600, $700, $800 for one of those. It was insane. So I'm thinking somebody said, this is my chance, and then bought this and said, well, this is unplayable, and then put it under their bed and left it there. And the reason I think it was under the bed is I know this sounds insane, but I studied its dust and dirt patterns, and the way the dust had accumulated on this instrument suggested to me that it had spent a very long time laying down, because it didn't have dust, like if it was hanging up, it would have dust in its horns and stuff, but all the dust on it suggests that it was laying down. And since you can't just lay a guitar down in the middle of the floor, I'm thinking whoever got it put it under their bed. I think someone got this and put it under their bed. So this is a 2018 Epiphone SG 400 Pro limited edition that had two owners, one of whom put it under his bed until it found its way to me. Now, when I first got this, as you saw, I thought to myself, you know what? I'll just fix the pickup that doesn't work, and I'll just change the selector switch cap. And I didn't do that, of course. I just completely tore the guts out of it. The original 66 that this is modeled after had P90s in it. So I went and got myself some Semour Duncan Phat P90 pickups to toss in there. Why not? I mean, that's what it should have, so why not put those in there? And it's not that hard to switch out the electronics. I didn't like the electronics that were in there. I'm not a fan of the circuit board electronics. I just want old school, just big pots and just big caps and heavy wire and simple. I don't like the plug and play modern electronics. That's just me. So I switched out all of its guts, put in the Phat Cat. I had to do a little routing to get the Bigsby in around the pick guard. I also had to recess the studs that hold in the tailpiece here so I could get it flat. I didn't change its tuners at all. I did. The nut that was sitting so high, I had to carve on it anyway, so I did try to angle the string some. It mostly holds tune. The E string is a little iffy. I might try some other things. These are 14-to-1 tuning keys, old school, which I don't have these on any other guitars. It's kind of interesting because the posts are smaller. I ended up with a lot more winds on it than I normally would, but it does do fine tuning a little bit better. So there you have it, and I'm sure I'm showing you photos of everything as I'm talking about it. So we should take a listen. I've got this little Blues Junior sitting right here. We can take a listen to the neck pickup. We can hear the two pickups together. We can listen to the bridge pickup, and I don't know, I'll just noodle a little bit. So that's its neck pickup together. Let's have a listen to the bridge pickup. It's pretty bright. So you can see it kind of holds its tuning. Definitely the E string gives me a little grief, but not bad. I think with a little tweaking I can get it a lot more playable. Anyways, thank you for listening to my one take, because I hate doing more than one take. You get to hear all my mistakes. You get to see me look completely ridiculous. And hear me talk about this version, this episode of Marketplace CSI. Remember, the same place we're buying and selling instruments is where people photograph their breakfast and discuss their politics, and that's the world we live in. But I think it's worth $250. I think when I'm done with it completely, it's really going to be a player. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention, I did add a Wilkenson's Roller Bridge. You can probably see that. Without it, it would be impossible with the bridge that these come with. So there you have it. Thank you very much, and you guys have a great day.